means. Um, but yeah, to this tweet, this is from Ken Armstrong on Twitter. He talks about this article and he kind of gives like a bit of a summary. And he says 3 police officers were sent to an elementary school in Tennessee and arrested 4 black girls. One girl fell to her knees, another threw up. Police handcuffed the youngest, an 8-year-old with pigtails. Their supposed crime: watching some boys fight and not stopping them. And just off that, what is your reaction to that, Nick?
Sorry, I think my stream cut out a little bit, but I'm gonna read the tweet here. I missed a little bit what you said there, but 3 police officers went to an elementary school in Tennessee, arrested 4 black girls. One fell to her knees, another threw up. Police handcuffed the youngest. So they handcuffed an 8-year-old. They're crying watching some boys fight and not stopping them. Um, this is
Hmm.
just another example of, you see the prevalence of police in schools.
Hmm.
That's the police
Yeah.
state training kids at a very young age to get used to this pervasive authority that have the right to like brutalize you. They can end your life. They can
Yeah.
seize your assets through civil asset forfeiture, and there's
Hmm.
no accountability. And
Hmm.
that's why anyone who have this belief that we should have
Hmm.
police officers in school, which is something that is a bipartisan belief. I see it happens a lot in our school. There was a case in Florida, and I bring this up all the time. I brought this up when I wrote my op-ed,
Hmm.
where you have police in the schools that there was a school shooting, and the police didn't do anything to stop the shooting. In fact, they ran. They ran from the scene. So they was sued, and there was a lawsuit,
Hmm.
and the Supreme Court set a precedent that the cops have no legal obligation to protect you. They ruled on the side of the police. So that precedent, I bring this up all the time, how there's legal precedent, how they said, well, the police don't have to protect you. That came from the fact that police in schools abandoned the children during a shooting. So if the police are not there to protect the children during a school shooting, why are they there? Why are they there?
Why are they
To
there?
put young black people and other people of color through the criminal justice system at a young age. That's what it's about. And I didn't know the story until JB just pulled it up here, but this is just another example why I once again I wrote a giant op-ed against the police state, and I mentioned
Hmm.
this in particular, the prison industrial complex infiltrating our school systems. And they're not doing it to the white community either, because there's been extensive research that shows when you have white girls who do the same exact act of disobedience as a black girl, but they will just get a small disciplinary action while the black girl will get arrested. And there have been studies highlighting the same behavior over and over again. So we live in a racist police system that has infiltrated all aspects of our society, including our education system. And I have no idea why this is not a bigger issue. What's your thought,
Hmm.
JB?
Yeah. And so this goes into, and it's just not the police. So let me go to the actual article. I just shared it in the chat, everybody. Um, and I'll make sure to put it in the description as well
What
below.
I'm doing right now, because I read countless of these articles. I'm trying to
Hmm.
find a good one to show you guys what I'm talking about. Um, but I'll wait till after you get done showing this one. I think I found a good one. But sorry, go ahead, JB.
Okay. The subtitle says Judge Donna Scott Davenport oversees a juvenile justice system in Rutherford County, Tennessee, with a staggering history of jailing children. She said kids must face consequences which rarely seem to apply to her or other adults in charge. And this was by Miraba Knight, um, for Pope, and Ken Armstrong from ProPublica. Um, and it talks about how there were three different police officers. Two of the officers were black, one of them was white. One was against arresting the children. One said nothing, and then the white police officer was gung ho and adamant about getting the kids. Um, as you read this article, you discover that the police officer, the white police officer, was actually against even calling the parents of these children before arresting them. But because one of the children had diabetes, they because he was, he was okay with her, getting her insulin shot before they arrested her. And so it's crazy because all this was because they watched a fight. And even then, in the video that was being taped of them watching the fight, one of the little girls, you can actually hear them telling them to stop. But what do you expect little girls to do when a couple boys are fighting? What do you expect them to do? Right? And how are you going to so by that metric, right? Then there should be a ton of people across the United States that should be arrested just for watching people fight. Is that how we're going to operate things in this nation? Because they didn't necessarily jump in and stop the fighting. And then let's go even further. What if they actually jumped in to try to stop the fight and the police showed up over 11, 10, 9, 8-year-olds fighting? What if they showed up? And then what if they thought that the girls were fighting? Then what? You see how this goes? And the thing is, the fight wasn't even like what you think a fight is. A couple of jabs thrown at a boy, and that was it. And suddenly they want to arrest him over this. And part of the reason why is because of the judge, quote unquote judge. So the judge, by the way, she failed the bar I think 5 times. Um, and the judge, look at the graph. Rutherford County locked up kids in almost half of cases. Rutherford County, 48%. The top 50 courts, Rutherford County has the most. They lock up so many different kids. And for what? Stuff that they shouldn't be locked up over. I don't even think I would. I mean, if my kid was watching a fight, I don't even think I'd probably have disciplined them over it. I probably wouldn't have, I probably would just had to talk to him about it. And yet, you're going to do this? We live in a country that is devoid of restorative justice, that they do not believe in restorative justice whatsoever. And these girls didn't even need restorative justice. They probably just should have just said, next time that happens, you run, get an adult, and that's it. That's all you had to talk to them about. And they're going this far. It's just frustrating. And then this school is 3/4 is black and Latino. And so just like what Nick said, having these resource officers, it's just cops in the classroom. That's all it really is.
Yep, the prison industrial complex in our education system. And there are a lot of comments saying that how upsetting this article is. I was looking through it, and this is the kind of stuff you see while we have a lot of rage at this channel that you're not seeing in a lot of places. You guys should check out the video "Rome is Burning," and you guys see the anger that Rome had. and
Mhm.
the anger that we all have, the anger you see from CJ, from me as well,
Mhm.
because we have to live the reality of the situation. And there are a lot of people who don't understand. People always want to be like class reductionists or whatever. They still want to downplay the effect of race of this. But let me show you this real quick.
Mhm. Sure.
To show you guys the two-tiered justice system that we live on here, that is dominated by not only just race but also class as well. You got the combination of both. The billionaire who raped 3-year-old daughter avoids prison time, but a poor black guy in Mississippi who had his phone in jail because the guards forgot to take it from him. The guards forgot to take it from him, so they charge him and get him 12 years in prison. And then the billionaire who raped the 3-year-old, they said, "Oh, we're not gonna give him prison time because he would not fare well behind bars." Tell me more about how we don't have institutionalized racism in this country. How our judicial system is not bought off by the billionaire and capitalist class. Go ahead and tell me more about that. And I think that ties perfectly well into the story. And I'm gonna toss it right back to you, JB. I'm glad that we have Awkward coming on. I'm gonna try to call him sometime before let him know that we're gonna have him on the JB show. But we have a we're gonna have a conversation with him. He's perfect for this conversation. The only correction I do want to make when I was talking about how the police don't have the constitutional duty to protect someone, I just gave you guys the wrong example. There was another legal case that came out of Florida that was regarding the schools. So this is the instance I was talking about when I said the police, they don't even have a legal um, duty to protect you. So the people that say, "Oh, we need giant police budgets in order so we can prevent crime," that's not even their legal job. Now, the reason why I'm bringing this up because the correction comes because I actually do remember reading about the story. There was a woman who was a victim of a violent husband, pretty much, right?
Mhm.
And she went through court system. She was calling the police, like, "Yo, even though we have restraining orders upon this guy, he's still stalking me." I'll sum it up in a nutshell the story here, just to correct the origins of this. So she let the police hey, police, this dude's about to fucking kill me. My husband's a psychopath. He's not listening to court orders. He don't care about what authority at all. You guys got to do something. And the cops, being the useless scumbags that they are, who don't prevent crime, they was like, "Nah, we good." I think he's not gonna do that.
Mhm.
And then the court ruled the police are like, "Oh, well, let me look at it. Let me look at it. Make sure." See, Jessica Gonzalez tried to get the Castle Rock police to find and arrest her estranged husband, Simon Gonzalez, who was under court order to stay 100 yards away from the house. He had taken the children, ages 7, 9, and 10, as they played outside, and he later called his wife to tell her he had the girls at the amusement park. I'm trying to tell the long story, but pretty much he was trying to get police help against her deranged husband, and they didn't give a fuck. They didn't give a fuck. And then they took it to courts. Justice Stevens and Ginsburg, in their dissenting opinion, said it's clear that elimination of the police discretion was integral to the Colorado and fellow state solution to the problem of pretty much in a long-winded fashion. They're pretty much saying, "Yo, the cops don't have to they don't have a legal right to protect you, right?"
Mhm.
Meanwhile, people still believe that the justice system is designed to protect us, and that was the case that set the legal precedent for that. But I just want to clarify that. But go ahead, JB.
No, yeah. And so, you know, in accordance with this story from ProPublica, and I encourage you all to read it. It's a bit of a long read, but it goes down to the nitty-gritty of what's really going on. The judge is this conservative wingnut who believes that she needs to correct the children of the country, you know, by her own, volition. She basically is like, oh, parents aren't raising their kids right, so I have to do it myself. It's like, no, you don't. A lot of times parents aren't able to raise their kids properly because a lot of parents have to work long ass hours and because they don't make enough in a living wage so that they can be able to stay home long enough to be with their kids when they need to. So that's part of the reason. The other part of the reason is that we have a societal degradation because you have people who are pushing this sociopathic narrative that we shouldn't care as much about each other as we should. And so then you'll get the, oh, boys will be boys or kids will be kids and blah blah blah, and kids get bullied and kids get cyberbullied and things like that because they don't have, their parents there to, you know, guide them in the right way because a lot of times their parents are being wage slaves into the capitalist system. So it's all one big cycle. And then on top of that, you got the police going off, and acting like they're sheriffs and fucking gun smoke and schools, and then trying to lay down the law when kids are, trying to get an education, and they are largely in black and brown schools because they're viewed as animals and not as viewed as humans. So, yeah, of course, they're being treated this way. And so you got judges like her who were appointed, um, and even the person that appointed her to that position said he doesn't even remember why he put her there. Thanks, Sam Jacobson, for the $20 super chat. Appreciate it so much. Love you back. I appreciate it. But yeah, this person didn't even know why they put them in there. So it's like, you mean to tell me that years ago you appointed this person to be a judge over juvenile court and you don't remember why? That means that you just wanted to throw somebody in there. Like, what? So this whole mishigas of trying to basically put black and brown kids in line, that's basically all it is. Let them know who's boss, you know. And as far as the white supremacist institution is concerned, it's sick and it's disgusting. Um, and so I'm just, I'm tired of seeing this, and this is one of the reasons why people like you, Nick, people like Awkward, are so are so I'm trying to find the right word. Gosh, my brain is slipping. You guys are so important for this movement, this discussion, because the remedies of the 10 demands is so imperative that it literally means not just the life, but the mental health. Like, I'm thinking about those little girls' mental health right now. Like, they're traumatized now. For the rest of their life, they're going to be traumatized because they got arrested for something that was minuscule, that didn't deserve even a reprimand. Yeah, Quaker Socialist. Thank you. Integral. I'm sorry. My brain just melted. Maybe I need to take a puff of whatever Nick has, whatever. Uh, but yeah, um, that probably would help me remember a little bit better. Um, yeah, Robin. When there are children, there should be laughter, and I agree. And
Hey,
it was a teachable moment, but that was as far as it should have went.
JB, I have one last receipt. Sorry, I was saying something to Awkward.
No, please do. Please do.
Well, I have one last receipt that relates to the last story that I was looking for while you was gracefully presenting that last bit of information. So let me show you guys this. This is what I'm referring to, and this is what me and Awkward at 10 Demands, this is what we highlight all the time, and this is what I cover extensively when I make the argument about getting cops out of the schools.
Hmm.
So nationally, black students are more than twice as likely as their white classmates to be referred to law enforcement. Black students are 3 times as likely to be arrested as their white classmates. In some states, black girls are over 8 times more likely to be arrested as white girls.
Hmm.
During the 2015-2016 school year, 1.6 million students attend a school with a sworn law enforcement officer and no counselor. Look at our society. 1.6 million students attend school with a police officer, but no counselor. Don't give a fuck about mental health. It's all about introducing the kids to the police state early and often and getting them used to this prevalent system. That's why people don't even ask these questions. We ask questions about how our law enforcement system works. Like, we put the onus on these people to explain how this shit is garbage and it doesn't work. People don't even think about this shit because they've been brainwashed and institutionalized by the system from day one.
Yeah.
So don't even think about the fact that there's never been a society that operated the way we have with our police. Name one. This new system of policing we have is new. This is new, and this was born under neoliberal capitalist order after the Industrial Revolution. I covered this in my article as well. The police always have racist roots. That's where they come from. The slave patrols. They instituted the black codes that coordinated with white supremacists to lynch black Americans. But then when you had giant capitalism take over, the Industrial Revolution, they became servants to the capitalist state. And people are so institutionalized, they don't even understand that. I just told you guys, they don't have any constitutional duty to protect you. They solve less than 2% of violent crimes.
Yeah. And police in schools is pure indoctrination. That's what it is. And people need to realize that it's indoctrinating your kids to make them think that they deserve to be in a police nanny state, that they deserve to have police looking over their shoulder at all times. It makes these kids, largely black and brown, think that they're no good and they'll never be any good, and they don't deserve autonomy, as free thinking citizens, because they inherently have something bad, about them. That's what this basically teaches them. And I grew up with resource officers in my school all the time. Like, hell, how many of you remember having a police officer come in and teach you classes during the DARE program? And sometimes
Their
they'll even,
program was trash. But sorry, go
yeah,
ahead, JB. It was trash.
yeah, it was. I mean, and you had that police officer coming in around a bunch of 6, 7 year olds with a puppet talking about, you know, uh, you know, people who may smoke weed, which is probably most, a large majority of us, we knew somebody who did, and making us think that person is bad or evil, or someone who's awful, and then, you know, constantly, like, if kids get into a fight, then they get arrested inside the school, and you know it's like, no, you have to believe in restorative justice. Why are you arresting them? Because guess what? How many fights happen in white schools and they don't get arrested? They'll get split up, put into the office, they may get suspension, something like that, but that's as far as it goes. um so yeah, I just and people are like, well, these kids need to learn, and it's like, yeah, they can learn. All you got to do is talk to them. We're not animals. We're not. That's the thing that people need to get through their heads. We're not animals. Stop sending zookeepers into schools to watch after kids. Stop. No, we're human beings.